Hey guys, Chastity here with Vince and and we're here to talk about the Capcom Cup finals. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So leading up to the Capcom Cup, people have been training all year, traveling all over the world for this, just preparing, and then it just culminated at the PlayStation experience this past weekend.
Yeah,
so,
it sure did. And exciting grand finals versus it was Kazunoko versus Daigo.
Daigo,
the legend, the beast, a player who's very well known to the general audience. Even people who don't really follow esports that much probably know him.
Yeah.
And Kazunoko, a lesser known player to the general audience, but certainly the fighting game community knows Kazunoko and his infamous Yun.
I was surprised to see a Yun player taking this whole thing. If you had told me that before, I'd be like, really?
Yeah, it's
seriously.
And I was telling you, it's because Yun kind of was there was a lot of Yun play during Arcade Edition, and then he got nerfed into the ground, and the Yun army dissipated, and then they gave him back some of his juice in Ultra, so some people started to pick him back up. But in any case, it was an amazing
amazing
set.
final.
Yeah,
amazing final.
And
what were the highlights for you during this final?
So I would say for me, the thing I picked out the most is that, because you don't see this often, is that Kazunoko down the stretch kind of outguessed Daigo a whole lot. So, you know, on his wake up, on Kazunoko's wake up, he would wake up with up kicks sometimes, which is, you know, very risky. It's like a shoryu with kicks.
Kind of tricky to play around. It's hard to predict, and it's hard to just like, I wouldn't be sure what to do against that.
And that's the thing is that, like, you know, sure, like if you're just starting or like you haven't played against that kind of thing a lot, then, you know, sure, it can be tough. For a guy like Daigo, you know, or really any veteran Street Fighter player, you look at that and you're like, okay, I'm gonna wait for them to do those up kicks on their wake up, and then I'm gonna punish it.
Right.
Except, you know, when
But he didn't.
He didn't. Kazunoko always made the right guess. Like, every time Daigo waited for an up kick to punish, an up kick didn't come, and instead Kazunoko would wake up blocking or wake up with a crouch jab. And then every time Daigo tried to hit with like a meaty attack on Kazunoko's wake up, there were the up kicks not blowing him out of the water. So it was like every time Daigo tried to make that guess, just Kazunoko was outguessing him. You know?
It was kind of hard to watch. I was just like, come on, Daigo, come on, you
I was like, come on, catch on to it. But it's hard. Like when a guy's in your head and he knows which thing to do when. And then the other thing too was the command grab, Yun's command grab. Every time Daigo got hit with that, it looked like he had no idea what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then Daigo
also
is
surprising.
Yeah, very surprising, because Daigo is, if nothing else, Daigo, you know, as you get older, yes, sure, your reactions kind of go down a bit, but like your match knowledge and your ability to adapt to your opponent tends to get better, and Daigo's definitely been no exception. It was just so strange to see him not figure that out and be ready for it and start to punish it or call it out with a DP or something. So that was, for me, those are the kind of the big takeaways from that last set. But a great set, well played on both sides. Kazunoko, a very deserving champion.
Agreed. Were there any disappointments for you during the top 8?
No, I think the top 8 was actually really strong all in all, and there was a lot of really strong, amazing moments that I think I'll take away with me. But I think more than anything, what I took away from the top 8 as a whole, and just the Capcom Cup, this being its like second year in production, is that it having gotten so big and it now having all this momentum leading into Street Fighter V, and knowing as we do that like there's probably going to be a pretty close integration of the Capcom Cup and the actual Street Fighter V product, like the actual game client. We don't know the details of that yet, but knowing that, I think that Capcom has timed this and planned this perfectly, and I think it's given them all the momentum they need to really push like esports and like fighting game culture within the esports circle like really far forward in 2016 with Street Fighter V.
So this Capcom Cup 2015 really is sending just fighting games in general and just the whole community forward. And
yeah, it's a great example of like how we can grow as a community and kind of get some of that big prize money and get that big recognition that we've been looking for a long time.
Yep. So that's it. We hope you like the Capcom Finals too. If you haven't, go check it out on YouTube and stay tuned to IGN for more Street Fighter V coverage.